With us, we have a very great team. Mrs. Winnie Terry, who's the Executive Director for TAMFI, which is Tanzania Association of Microfinance Institutions.
Thank you everyone who is on board, and thank you very much for all who could join the webinar this morning. And yeah, it is a great pleasure to be here today to hold our first webinar in partnership with ICRA. It has been a great opportunity for us, and we have seen the opportunities which are coming by signing an MOU with ICRA in January of this year. And apart they approached us, we saw that there is a need in the industry in Tanzania, because for quite a long time, we've not had this opportunity or this initiative on doing credit rating. We all know that credit rating has, it involves, resources, and apparently most of our microfinance institutions or financial institutions in Tanzania could not afford that. And being a localized rating company, we hope that most of the financial institutions in Tanzania will be able to conduct that. Not only that, we know ratings are critical, especially in the industry, in assessing risks, performance standards, and it gives transparency. To us, we thought this is a very important tool, a very important reporting segment, where our institutions will be transparent, they'll be seen, they'll be known, and more specifically with international markets. And yeah, we hope from the ratings, we'll be able to access international partners, donors, investors, markets who can work with the financial institutions in Tanzania, and more specifically, the microfinance institutions in Tanzania. TAMFI, as you all know, it's an association, it's a network of microfinance players in the country, and the majority of them, apparently, I can say, have not been rated. So with this opportunity, working with ICRA into in performing the rating for our financial institutions. Thank you very much, and let's have a good webinar. Thank you very much.
Let's go. Good afternoon, Tim, and of course the participants. As introduced by Hassan, my name is Kevin, among other things. So we thought that it is important to organize this session, one, to help our businesses in Tanzania. Actually, credit rating can basically help them in their efforts to access finance, both locally and internationally. So as one of our key roles, that is to facilitate our businesses. So we see that this is quite an important session for us, credit rating, which is of course a new area here in Tanzania. So with this, every participant should know how they can actually benefit from credit rating.
My name is Flavia Wire. I work with AMFIU. I'm the manager for membership and financial inclusion. As AMFIU, we're always looking for opportunities that can better our member services. And this is one of such opportunities. The issue of credit rating is very important and has various opportunities that as a practitioner, as an institution, you can tap into. And some of these opportunities include knowing your performance, knowing your areas of improvement, improvement in the areas of governance, and access to funding from external funders or interested funders, who may support your business. I must say that in Uganda, this is like the beginning, where we've had a rating company locally here. And we want to welcome ICRA so much for having come into this space. It may be like a new concept to many members, and we encourage them to take this topic with a lot of interest and the benefits that will come with it. Thank you very much. I wish you very good deliberations.
Webinar, the first of many, arranged with ICRA and TIOB in partnership. My name is Patrick Mususa. I'm the Executive Director of the Tanzania Institute of Bankers, TIOB. TIOB is pushing to play a role in that, in the ICRA as a formidable partner to be able to address some of this. Now, the topic at hand today, loan syndications, is something that I am grateful to ICRA for bringing on board Mr. Aditya Alamuri. I will let Zishan introduce him. For me, I was keen for them to highlight the benefits of actually gaining an understanding around loan syndications and what a credit rating agency, what role it plays in that, in the sense of making these facilities accessible to banks and financial institutions in a local market that are trying to access affordable funds that they can then able to channel to the right avenues in order to be able to better serve their customers and clients. For me, I would like to take a moment to thank you all who have joined us on the webinar today. We've been pushing this as much as possible on our social media platforms and in social network groups and WhatsApp. We thank you for responding to the call. And we hope that this will be as valuable to you as you are valuable to us in terms of your giving us your attention. With that, I would like to end there.
Good morning. From where I'm sitting, it's morning here. So morning or good afternoon, wherever. Just to thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to speak to the members present. As Sahil said, I'm the CEO of the PSFU, and we were very delighted to co-launch this event in Kampala. We are happy to be a member, part and parcel of the ICRA ratings in the country. We recognize the support and the convergence and partnership of our central bank, the Bank of Uganda, with whom we strong engagement towards ensuring that members, investors, business people bring in their relevant portfolios so that we can have a very good business environment. And many thanks to ICRA, and Godspeed. Have a great meeting. Thank you.
Morning to all of you who kind of able to join this webinar, and good morning to my colleagues and also ICRA partners there as well. One specific thing in my presentation, or sort of that how important it is for us also to take comfort from our credit rating that you guys are doing. I would actually be honest, it's not that Jishan has actually brought us here and sort of supporting Jishan. I think it would be fact and honestly saying that if we are actually coming to Tanzania or any other African countries and taking some exposure in terms of trade finance or trade loan, we need to give you credit lines. And that credit line, that credit proposal, our RM that we introduced to you, they would be proposing to the credit committee, which ultimately goes to even our board. In that proposal, think about two scenarios. One proposal is that we are proposing a bank XYZ without having any credit rating, a limit, let's say 2 million limit for the time being. Then another proposal scenario is that same limit, but then a good rating by ICRA. If a credit officer is looking at that, definitely that would add value. And currently I'm also sort of acting chief risk officer for the bank. I personally definitely would feel that a proposal with a credit rating and a proposal without a credit rating makes lots of difference. That's the point I wanted to make. Thanks.
At the outset, I would like to thank ICRA for arranging this. And of course, the other main important factor is obviously the credibility of the borrower. Now, credibility of the borrower, as I said, It can either come through credit rating, which is done by the likes of ICRA over here. ESG credentials and your own credit of the borrower is a major factor in the success of a deal.
We are here today to explore avenues of professional cooperation with the MFIs in Uganda if you require funding to further develop your microfinance activities. We also look at external reports such as audit reports and credit rating. A rating by a renowned and independent rating agency such as ICRA provides us with significant comfort on the performance of the subject MFI and is a plus and is a plus both for us and for the MFI as it assists us in our assessment of the risk profile of the client. Thank you. And in Uganda, we say webalinyu.
I'll give you two highlights. It is all about progression and not perfection. That was also part of the title of this presentation, because everybody is on its own journey, independent if you start, independent on your maturity level, and remind yourself that ESG is simple, but not easy. When we look from the African bank or financial perspective, what I did is I put three key stakeholders. So it is beyond risk management and compliance. It's actually your license to operate. And if you as a bank or financial institute incorporate ESG, the results, especially the operational effectiveness, is increasing. And that offers you more and more market opportunities. So this year, already globally, 50% of the investments is taking ESG into consideration. Deny it anymore. It is become a mainstream topic because investors want to have that credibility. They want to know where you are, against what standards are you actually reporting.
Hello, it's great to be here today, and thank you ICRA for inviting me here. To introduce myself, I'm Rowena Pete and I'm a chartered accountant, and I work for 50% of my time for Agora Microfinance and 50% of my time for Maringaway. Maringaway's target market, so currently our target market is Sub-Saharan Africa, with our main focus countries being Tanzania, Kenya, Uganda, and we're also looking at other countries such as Ghana and Rwanda at the moment. And the goal for Maringaway is to increase finance to microfinance institutions with a focus on rural and women clients. So the margin is based on two things. It's based on the risk rating of the company, which is our own internal risk rating, but could also be a risk rating from an external provider such as ICRA. The SIP phases are a light due diligence. The idea of it is to make sure that neither you or us are spending too much time. What we do here is we ask for high-level information. We ask for any credit ratings that you may have, 4 years of audited financial statements. The only thing that we have from external parties are the audit reports and also the credit ratings. And that's another reason why credit ratings are important to us, because it's another confirmation of information that's being shared with us is also being shared with a different party. So it is really important for us. And that's it from me today. I'd just like to thank you all for spending time with me today.
I think before moving on, one of the things that Northside looks at is in terms of our minimum risk assessment criteria, is one of the aspects we look at is we always look at, do these entities have credit ratings? And now what is the perspective from Northside for these credit ratings? So as an international financier, one of the areas that we look at is whether the investee company, well, in this case, the banks have a credit rating. For us, it is something that is a really nice to have. We have invested in companies where they have not, but it makes the process a lot harder for us. So what it does is this gives the funder, not just us, Northside, but other international financiers, an objective assessment of the financial institution around their creditworthiness, which is absolutely paramount, and also their regulatory compliance, as we've seen across the continent, is also extremely important. So overall, what the credit ratings do for international financiers is it assists the banks with access to the international capital markets overall. And that's sort of the summary I would like to give around that, the credit rating.
Thank you so much, Sahil. And by the way, thank you so much for the TCIA and ICRA for this invitation. We also help clients in getting project company valuations. That's where also the ICRA rating report is a very important instrument for the companies, because our banks need and are eager to understand exactly what kind of clients they are talking to, or they are willing or not to help them. And we help the client with our financial strategies and any side capital services. Finally, we can, of course, if you need to contact us, you will find, but I think the best thing is to go through ICRA. They will put you to join and put us together if they find that we are able to help. Because we are offering corporate finance services, what kind of services are we providing? Projects and deal assessments, company valuations. This is where the ICRA report is one very important stake that we can present to the banks. Market studies, strategic analysis and proposal.
There's a question from Mr. Joffrey. Please let us know your interest rate charge for companies looming for financial from IMCI.
It's a very difficult question. I cannot answer that. This depends, of course, on the project, on the country, on the background, and the ICRA rating would help a lot to lower the interest rate. I'm telling you that the rating report is going to help a lot, because a lot of information that the banks are international, they don't have about the country, about the company, about the history, may be helped through this credit rating as well.
Good evening, wherever you are. I'm Natamba. I am a Deputy Director in Communications Department of the Central Bank, but I'm also a Ugandan. And so I have decided to attend this forum in my capacity as a citizen of Africa. Let me say, ladies and gentlemen, that I'm honored to be part of this webinar. And if I can summarize or put it plainly, we cannot access these funds, we cannot access these international funding sources if we are not rated. So, ICRA, together with PSFU, have come up with an approach, a campaign, to create awareness about the importance of being rated. So when you are rated, you will be able to have an international standing in as far as access to international finances is concerned. So by providing ICRA, by providing rating services and other benefits will come along, such as technology transfer, risk management, access to global markets. And this will lay a foundation or a groundwork for sustainable economic growth and development.
Thank you so much for organizing this webinar. It is a very important webinar for the microfinance sector. I'll begin by introducing myself, Rachel Vanessa Muhwezi, and I serve as a manager microfinance institutions at Uganda Microfinance Regulatory Authority. We welcome ICRA ratings for our institutions because this might be a very important tool and very vital, which will attract more investors in the microfinance sector. So when we look at the role of credit rating and why external credit rating might be very important for investors and also very important for investment, you would realize that credit rating is very important, not only for the prospective investors, but for the entities themselves. A very important tool which would enable the institutions access capital at a lower rate, which is affordable in case they are found to have a low risk. And to the listeners there, you could also realize that credit ratings are very important to the regulator because they may help us to identify the investment grade institutions for any incoming investor in the country. For it's very crucial for the credit ratings because they'll help us to identify the investment grades for these institutions. To still peg on the same, how the credit ratings can help the regulator guide on the regulated institutions more on their operations and portfolio quality. When you look at the slides that were presented, you saw what they're talking about, the AMLs. AMLs, that is the asset quality, the management sensitivity, the earnings, the liquidity of the institution. So such kind of information that if it is available to the regulator, it is very important information because it will help us also guide the operations and the portfolio quality of these institutions through implementing the Tier 4 legal framework and the issued guidelines. It will also bridge the information asymmetry because you realize that most institutions may have maybe 3 reports or 4 reports. They have a report for the shareholders, a report to show to the investors, a report for the regulator, and also their internal report for the board. So if we have a credit rating agency and it is a standalone independent institution, the way it was launched or recognized in the microfinance and the financial sector by Bank of Uganda, and as also UMRA, Uganda Microfinance Regulatory Authority, who recognized it. So it will bridge that information asymmetry between the regulator, the institutions, and the potential investors. I believe the institutions on the call, they will appreciate also the use of credit rating of their institutions to be able to access financing from the international investors. Thank you so much. I beg to submit.